No man is an island. But there is a huge, huge difference between being alone and being on your own. And that's what we're going to explore today. So I just had a ridiculous discussion. It was an interview that I did with a gentleman by the name of Bjorn Andreas Bull Hansen. And Bjorn is a Norwegian guy. He's a YouTuber, blogger, and author, former powerlifter, who has over 350,000 subscribers on YouTube. And a lot of his content is around men's mental health, masculinity, bushcraft, and spending time in nature. And we spent a bit of time talking about this idea of going out into the woods and spending time overnight just on your own. And we talked about some of the fears that can come up and why people might be afraid of the woods. Why we find it easy and comfortable to get in a giant metal box and drive at 100 miles an hour down the road with nothing but a strap across our chest to keep us safe, yet we're afraid to go into the woods and spend a few hours or an overnight stay by ourselves. Now, loneliness is one of the biggest challenges for men's mental health. It's this idea of being an island and self-reliant. In fact, another interview I did with Dr. John Ogrodnichuk, who is a male-specific psychotherapist who runs a website called Heads Up Guys. And he was actually talking about the idea of self-reliance in men's mental health is one of the biggest causes of depression in men. Right, that idea that you have to do everything alone or on your own, you have to be strong for your family and for your kids, and that if you show any kind of vulnerability or weakness, then that will rub off on them, and all of a sudden you won't be the man or the provider or fill the masculine role that society expects you to do. And so we have a tendency as men to gear towards loneliness and self-reliance. Or self-reliance first, and with it comes loneliness. And even if we have people around us, even if we have an extended family of friends, we can still feel lonely if we're not connected to them. Now, I'm going to explore that whole idea in a different video, because loneliness has been at the core of my own challenges in life. And ironically, then when I actually kind of found the source of my loneliness and self-reliance and realized that it was actually my own stuff keeping people at bay and keeping people away, that I was able to then start accepting people to be in my life. And I actually had to cure my own loneliness first before people would come in. It was strange that way. It wasn't the people that cured the loneliness. I did it. And then all of a sudden, my life started being abundant with other people. Now, that's very different to the idea of being alone. Loneliness, bad. Being alone, very, very good. And one of the things that we talked about is this idea, Bjorn and I, we talked about going into the woods and spending an overnight stay in the woods to be alone with your own thoughts and feelings. And he said through his experience, so often, like if he's kind of sat at home in his box, watching a box, the TV, and he might see kind of something political or something that doesn't agree with him, and he'll find himself getting angry or frustrated or upset by whatever he might see. And what he would do is he would take himself out into the woods and for an extended period of time, and he'd find it incredibly difficult to remain in that painful emotional state. Because when you're out in the woods, you realize that whatever it is that you're feeling doesn't matter on the grand scheme of things. And it doesn't matter in that moment. The moment that you're actually connected with nature in the woods, all of that stuff doesn't matter. So as you spend an overnight stay and as the night descends and you're just left alone with your thoughts, you're forced to face them. You're forced to face your deepest and darkest thoughts, but it's done in a way of being connected to nature, being connected to the present moment. So you're disconnected from how that connects with your day-to-day life, which actually gives you that safe space to start to process your own emotions. And he said that every single time that he's done this and spent a day overnight, he's woken up the next morning, and it's been scary at times for him to face those emotions, but every time he's woken up in the morning, truly at peace. It's one of the most peaceful experiences he's ever had. And certainly from my experience, I've not done the overnight stay on my own, but I've done it with friends. But because I've had my own tent, you spend the night on your own and then you wake up feeling a similar level of peace. But I know that whenever I go walking or hiking or anything like that, that first hour is kind of tough. Like building up to it is tough. And then that first hour is difficult when I start to think, what have I got myself in for? But then you get past that hurdle and you start connecting with nature, the things around you, the magic around you, and you start to connect to the present moment, which gives you that space to start being with your own thoughts. So there's a lot of power in being on your own. So I want you to kind of have a think about this whole idea about being alone versus being on your own, and making sure that you're distancing yourself from this feeling of being alone and curing yourself of your loneliness, which I will talk about in a future video, but also allowing yourself to be alone, to process your emotions, to process your thoughts, and find peace. So you're not facing those negative emotions like anger or pain or frustration. But that's my thoughts for today. I wanted to share that after having the awesome discussion with Bjorn. I'll put a link to his channel below, and I will see you. Actually, I will see you on Friday because we've got some pre-prepared videos for the next 3 days. So I'll see you on Friday, but enjoy the videos in the meantime. Bye!